Now we will start with Panchama Veda. Tabu kathamritam tapta jivanam kobibhiriritam kalmashapaham sravanamangalam srimadatam bhuvignanti e bhurida janaha. Vijay Krishna Goswami, he was a very famous person, as a cult head, with thousands of people is his follower. Now he is a young man and he used to come to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna used to like him very much. And this Vijay Krishna Goswami is asking a question, "Sir, why are we bound like this?" The discussion was going on. Now he is asking this question to Sri Ramakrishna. And the Sri Ramakrishna's answer is Maya. It is nothing but the egotism of the embodied soul. This is a Maya, the word Sri Ramakrishna used, and we find it again and again in the Shankaracharya's explanation. In a philosophy, always you have to explain the creator, creation, and the relation between these two. Now, this creation, what is it actually? It's totally different from the creator. In that case, what is going to happen? So, the people are mostly confused. Even the great philosophers do not get the proper answer. Some people are telling that this is nothing but God. But one thing, almost all the philosophers in all the religions, they say God has created this world. Now the question is, when you are creating, you need two things. One, an intelligent agent, the creator. Another is the material. Now, who is the intelligent agent? God. And what is the material? Where from the God got the material? And some of the philosophers, some of the religions, they are not very clear about it. But in the Hindu philosophy, it is very clear. We will come to that point particularly. But here we find that Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling, it is Maya. It is better to go through this so that it will be easy for us to understand. Now, in Vedanta, that is the end of the Veda. In almost all the Vedas, and the highest point of the Veda is the Upanishads, and there the Upanishads always say God has created this universe out of His own. Now, when the God is creating the universe out of its own, the one question comes. Now, there is a lump of clay, and the potter is creating something out of that clay. The potter is the intelligent agent, clay is the material. Now, when that potter utilizing that lump of clay, making a clay jar, then the clay is no more, but the jar is there. So, it is the transformation. The material, that clay, has got the shape of an earthen jar, earthen pot. So, the shape has been changed, but that matter, particularly the lump of clay, is no more. It has been exhausted, it has been utilized. And the person who has created the potter is totally out, totally different from its creation. So, this is clear. Now, one very famous philosopher of India, the leader of the Vishishta Advaita philosophy, Vishishta, special, Advaita, one philosophy, Ramanuja. Sri Ramanujacharya, he is telling that this must be the cause. And the philosophy called Parinamavada. Parinama means transformation. Parinama, transformation. It was clay, now it has become an earthen jar. It's a very interesting. So, this is Parinama. The God has created this universe out of its own. That God is the intelligent agent and also the material. Now, the God is creating out of its own. If we accept the Parinamavada, transformation, the God has become universe. Then there is no God. The God is there, but in different name, different form, different shape in the universe. As the lump of clay exhausted and it became the earthen jar. So, that lump of clay is no more. Similarly, the weakness of this philosophy is this question: the God is exhausted. The answer has been given again in the Veda, no. From the one, if you are taking one, Purna Mada, Purna Idam, Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purna Eva Avashishyate. We know this very famous sloka. The out of the whole, the complete has been taken away, but still that complete is still there. So, similarly, now comes the philosophy of Shankaracharya, and his philosophy is named as Vivartavada, appearance. It is not transformation, appearance. When you see that thousands of sun is reflected on the waves of the sea, thousands of sun, it is reflected, but original sun is still there. Similarly, we see the God in every being, but the original God is still there. The God is creating this universe out of his own, but not exhausted. Why? Whatever you see is nothing but the appearance. Now, question comes, why then we cannot see God? That is what Vijay Krishna Goswami is asking. Why can't we feel that we are God? Because now another Maya. What is this Maya? This is a very simple word, the two-letter word Maya, but that gives the whole explanation of the Shankara philosophy. And what is this? Here again, the Shankaracharya says, Abhyakta Namni, Paramesha Shakti. Those who can understand the Indian language can understand. Abhyakta, not Bhaktya, not explained, Namni. Paramesha Shakti is the power of the God. Anadi Avidya, eternal, no Adi, it has no beginning. Adi means beginning. It has no beginning. No one knows when it began. Anadi, Avidya, ignorance. Trigunatmika para, it has three qualities. Satya Rajatama. Trigunatmika para, it is the cause. And how you understood it? Karjanumeya, by seeing the effect, by seeing the work. Karjanumeya. Now, we are taking a small pill and it is giving us a relief from the headache. Karjanumeya, how it worked inside the body, we do not know. Doctors may be knowing, the chemist may be knowing, scientist may be knowing. I do not know. But I know that this small peel can help me. Why? Karjanumeya, by seeing the effect of it. When you take this type of effect comes, Sudhyoiva Maya. Who understood this? Intellectual people. Very, very intelligent people can understand this, or otherwise it is very difficult. Because again, another quality of Maya, avarana and vikshepa. Avarana means covering, and vikshepa means throwing something else over that. So this we can understand, this we can see, this we can feel. Avarana and vikshepa is covering the actual, the real thing, and then imposing on it something else. In the desert, most of the people, they will be seeing one thing and they want that, water. In the desert, it is dry, and whatever the water they were carrying, it is exhausted. Now they start seeing mirage. They see that water is there. Not only see the waters, they see the trees, the dead trees all around. They see the camels, they see the people, they see the tents, they see the whole thing. And when they reach over there, nothing is there except the same old sand. That's the experience. That's called mirage. And you always see the whole thing. How could you? Because you wanted to see it. Because I wanted to see that particular scenery. When I am thirsty, when I am hungry, I want the support of the people, I want little accommodation, food, water, rest. I project all my dream on something. So this is the abhyaktanam karjanumeya. It happens. Similarly, I am seeing God, goddesses everywhere, but no. Opposite. I am throwing over that, covering the actual thing. Here in the desert, the person covered the plain, the sand, full of sand, a plot of land full of sand, dry sand, no water. He covered that with his imagination. And here we see the God in different form, in different name. They are all moving, they are all stationed, they are everything. I don't see God because again this Maya working in a different way. I am covering that and imposing on that as a man, woman, old, child, poor, rich, educated, uneducated, trees, plants, so many things. I am projecting. That is what Shankara's argument. So there it comes, abhyaktanam me. There is no name, you cannot explain it. And then Paramesha Shakti, what is it? It is the power of God. Anadi, it has no beginning. Avidya, it is ignorance. Trigunatmika para. Karjanumeya sudhyoiva maya yaya jagat sarvam idam prasuvate, from which the whole universe has been created. Is it really the universe has been created? We say yes. For us, real. But for those who have reached over there, nothing. How? See, when we were children, our world was different. We never cared about the war going on, or what the father is doing, mother is doing, all our neighbors' relation. Never we could think of that. we were always very happy with some games, because that is the nature. That was our world, and we could never think that I can part with a kite or a baseball bat or a football or something which was so close to our hearts. And now we cannot think of those. What are all those things? So that is the thing. When I went to a gentleman's house, his son is now learning to play the American football, but he is a lean and thin fellow. Then I told, American football you like to play? Yes. You see the pictures of the people who are playing, and they are so stout. First you have to become so stout, otherwise slowly I will grow up. He was telling. So that way he is thinking. Now afterwards the parents are also encouraging, okay, but when he will be graduating from the school level, parents will say, you have to become doctor, you have to become engineer, you have to become a scientist. Don't give much time on those things. Now afterwards he will be a doctor and treating those players. That may be. So naturally we think something and we do something, we become something, all our world is totally go away. So that is called Maya. Again the Shankaracharya trying to explain it. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, afterwards we will come to that, Sannapi Asannapi Ubayotmikano. Wonderfully and very rhythmic way he is giving us the explanation of Maya, which is impossible to give. What is that Maya? First he said in 108th sloka of the Viveka Abhyakta namni paramesha shakti anadi abidya trigunatmika para karyanumeya sudhivaiva maya yaya yagat sarvam idam prasuvate. Today is the Mahalaya. That means the Alaya, the road is open, and then the whole universe is now ready to receive the grace of the Moha Maya again. Is not only simple Maya, Moha Maya. And in the Chandi, it is explaining in this way, Tvam Vaishnavi Shaktim Ananta Virya. Vaishnavi Shaktim, the power of Vishnu. And here it says, Paramesha Shakti. Shankaracharya is telling. And Chandi is telling, Vaishnavi Shaktim. Tvam Vaishnavi Shaktim Ananta Virya Vishyasya Bijam Paramasi Maya. Then, Sammohitam Devi Samastametat Tvam Vai Prasanna Bhuvimukti Hetu. Tvam Vai Prasanna Bhuvimukti Hetu. No one can get the liberation from the bondage of these unless and until you bless. And who is that? Paramesha Shakti, Vishnu Shakti. And she is the Bija. Bija means the root. Bija means the seed from where the whole universe is coming. Even though we are worshipping the personal goddess, Goddess Durga, but we know the truth. So that is why the Hinduism, this is personal, immediately becomes impersonal. From impersonal, it comes to us as a personal. And we all write so many things about the God. There was a very poor person who used to ferry in the river. He was having a broken boat. Somehow he was using that boat to go over, but he was a very good person. He used to go on praying to Goddess Durga. So I have heard from the intelligent people, honest people, that if you take the name of Goddess Durga, then all your plight, all your miseries are gone away. Why don't you give me some money? I am so poor. I like to purchase a new boat. I like to help my family. Can't you give little money? So he used to go and talking with Goddess Durga. One day one lady came and she was standing on the one shore and requesting this Ishara Patani. Those in the Bengali read, they can understand. Ishara Patani. His name was Ishara. Patani means the boatman. And he looked at that lady, very nice looking lady, and told, what do you want? I like to cross this river. They give me little money, little, 1 anna or something like that. She told, I am so poor, I cannot give that. Oh, my God, I am also poor and I am doing this thing only for money. Now the only passenger that has come in the morning today, and it is you, and you cannot give me the money, and you are, even you are also poor, but anyway, what to do? Come, I will give you cross this river, help you. She came, she sat, then naturally they started questioning, asking, where from you are coming? Who is your husband? The husband is not helping you. Then, what is your father? The father is not supporting you. The father he is in the Himalaya, you know. I am going to him only. And my husband, don't talk about him. He is all the time smoking the hemp and lying down like that. And Panchamukhe kukatha. Kuk shabda means Veda. The Pancha means 5, Mukha means face, it is Shiva. Panchanana. The Shiva is having the 5 anana, the faces. And in that face, he goes on speaking about the 4 Veda and Agama, Nigama, etc. Kanthe bhara bish and Kevol amar sange danda ahornish. See, is full of, up to his throat is only the venom, Shiva. That is why she was going on giving the hints that she is not ordinary and she is the Parvati herself. But the poor man couldn't understand that, oh my God, your husband is not good, like that. He was showing the sympathy. Then when that lady went away, then he came once again to his boat and saw the portion where she was sitting and particularly the place where he put her leg has become gold. The half of the boat has become gold. So that way the God is. So how, see, she came herself, but the poor fellow couldn't understand she is Goddess Durga herself. Why? Maya. What type of Maya? The way she explain and talk like this. So this is sannapi asannapi ubayatmikano. Here the Shankaracharya is telling, this is neither real nor unreal. When the Maya means unreal, no, how can I say unreal? I can go and touch the horse, I can go and get the milk from a cow, I can see my neighbor and this and that, everything I can feel. How can I say it is unreal? When there is a toothache, all this Vedanta will vanish. It is so painful. So God forbid no one should have that experience. But the thing is, when that is that, you can understand. So when you say, oh, this whole area, this whole universe, the world is nothing but Maya, illusory, I cannot say it is illusory. So the Shankara says, neither real nor unreal. And also again at the same time, you cannot say the both are not there, real, unreal, nothing is there. Void. No, it is not void. Look at it, the philosophy. It is not void. You cannot say that nothing is there. It is there. But at the same time, it is not there. Again, it is telling, bhinnapi, abhinnapi, ubhayatmikano. Is it separated? Bhinna. Bhinna means separate. Is it separated? No. Abhinnapi is attached? No. Then what? Both. Asangopi, sangopi, asangopi, ubhayatmikano. Then He said, Moha Adbhuta. Adbhuta means wonder. Moha Adbhuta. It's impossible to explain. Anirbachaniya Rupa. Bachan means the words. You cannot explain it through the words, but it is there. And this is called Maya. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, in a very simple way, he is telling, Maya is nothing but the egotism of the embodied soul. The soul is there, God is there, that eternal reality is there, but over that there is a cover. And for that, this problem, what is that? Ego. I. Everybody is telling I. And you ask, what is I? Nobody knows. No one can explain that is I. What is I? This body, this mind? Nothing. Then what? But still I is so strong, it's so difficult. So Maya is nothing but the egotism of the embodied soul. That means soul is there, Paramatma, that is there, the totality of the whole soul. At the same time, Jivatma, that reflection is still there in every being. That is the Advaita Vedanta. Then Maya, that is ego, is like a cloud. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is again and again repeating ego. It is easy to understand for us. Shankara told something is difficult to understand, conceive. Sri Ramakrishna is more easy to understand, ego. We know what is ego. And here it is like Maya, that is ego, is like a cloud. Now the ego is this much and God is everywhere. How can the ego block the vision of God? So naturally, it's a very good question. Sri Ramakrishna answering is like a patch of cloud, a small patch, no comparison in the size of the sun. Sun is so big, but still we cannot see the huge sun because of a patch of cloud. Similarly, because it is covering your sight in such a way, you cannot see the sun. Similarly, God is everywhere. It is huge, but still you cannot see God because of small patch of ego. The Jiva is nothing but embodiment of Satchidananda. Sat Chit Ananda Sarupa. Sat means it is existence, Chit knowledge, Ananda bliss eternal. Now these, when we read, this is really appreciating the way they are utilizing, using the words. Bliss eternal. Why? The moment you say Ananda, when we go and see some game, we feel joy, excited. But afterwards, when you come out, that goes away. When you are eating, when you are meeting a friend, so this type of joy, the Ananda, we always experience, but after some time, it is gone. So once again. So in the society, what they do, they go on creating some functions. If there is no function, when the function comes, people are all excited, they will come. In every society, there is a big function. In India, Dasera and this Durga Puja, all over the India, all the people, now they will be all good dresses, good food, everybody is good. Even the political parties are also becoming quiet, because they have to go along with their families, all the leaders who will be fighting all through the year. At least these 7 days they are taking break. So like that, everybody is happy. It is necessary. So afterwards again the same old life will come. No. Once you realize the Satchidananda, eternal, bliss eternal, Your joy will be continuous, unbroken. So that he is telling Satchidananda, Jiva is nothing but embodiment of. Embodiment, the figure. Can you imagine? When all the people are pointing, fingering out and telling you are a sinner, you are a sinner, you are a sinner. Here the Vedanta says, you are the embodiment of Satchidananda, embodiment of God. But Maya or the ego created various upadhis. Upadhi means attributes. Now, he has forgotten his real self. Attributes. I am a man, is a woman, is a this, is that, all attributes. And these attributes, that is creating the problem. Wherever you go, that attributes goes. Sri Ramakrishna will be explaining. But how the creation came? Vedanta always goes along with a philosophy that's called Purusha and Prakriti. From there it has been. Purusha means consciousness. And from the Purusha, Prakriti comes. Prakriti means again that power. That is why the God's power is Prakriti. Is it different? No. A person and his capability. He has the knowledge, he has the capacity to do that too. But now, as if he is making that a two different personalities. One is intelligent but inactive. Another is active with the power of the intelligent. The Purusha is one. But the creating agents are many. That's called Prakriti. The Purusha and Prakriti. This is called Samkhya philosophy. Samkhya means knowledge. This Samkhya philosophy, and from the Prakriti comes Mahat, the cosmic intellect. Now, whatever we try to do, we first think. Unless we think properly, if the planning is perfect, everything is perfect. If the planning is wrong, you cannot make up. There will be something wrong. So that is why in the Western world we find materialistically they are very perfect. Why? Planning is perfect. Whenever they are constructing a road, they think about the 50 years afterwards, how many vehicles will ply over that, how many people will use. So 50 years they are planning. So when the road is going, both the side they will occupy, they will keep like that, and then as the demand is coming, they will go on expanding. But in the Eastern countries, as because we never did of ourselves, somebody thought for us. So now even we are confused. So we do something, then we bite our finger and say, oh, we made a mistake. I saw in Assam, they have made an approach road for a bridge that will cross a big river, Brahmaputra, huge river. So you can understand the approach road, from where they are bringing the long approach road. They have everything completed. Then the engineer came and told, no, bridge cannot be built over here. The whole approach road is like that. Millions of that money is still there, but who actually was planning? Without planning the bridge, the approach road was made. It's like without making anything, they made a staircase. And after going on the top of the staircase, they decided no building is necessary. Then what the staircase will do? Similarly, all our planning, if you go and see all our money in so many ways, it is totally wasted. So that is the first thing. So Prakriti is wonderful planning. That's why the first thing that he is doing, Prakriti is doing, is the cosmic intellect, Mahat. From the Mahat comes Antakarana, cosmic ego. Intellect is there. It has the planning, but who will do? And those people who are doing in the action, those people who are in the action, they are little rough and tough. So if you go and see in the offices are so nice, gentle, very courteous, because they are sitting inside the air-conditioned room, everything is neat and clean, but they are the managers of the coal field. Now they are all planning everything. Now the people who are working inside the coal field, if you go and talk to them, they are rough, they are tough, because that is ego. Unless that, they won't be able to work. So similarly, in the cosmic creation also, the Purusha, we do not know where it is, but it gives all the energy to something that is called Prakriti. That is also very subtle. From there the intellect comes, Mahat. Then comes cosmic ego, that is called Antakarana. And from the Antakarana again, Mana, that is the mind. Then Pancha organ, 5 sense organs, and 5 action organs, 5 Tanmatra, and then Mahabhuta, Pancha Mahabhuta, Shiti, Apa, Teja, Maruta, Vyoma. See, we are now here, we are standing over here, Shiti, Apa, Teja, then we have to climb over, and we have to reach up to the Purusha. It's called 24 stages of creation. And this is Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling, we are Satchidananda, that Purusha is coming down up to this. Now we have to go back. Mon chala nijo niketane. Oh my mind, let us go back to our own abode. What is that? Satchidananda. Unless and until the human being reaches over there, the human being is not satisfied. So Sri Ramakrishna is talking with Vijay Krishna Goswami, and he is telling, you know that attributes, that is creating problem. Even the money is attribute. And then he is telling money is also a great upadhi as attribute. The possession of money makes such a difference in a man. He is no longer the same person. Then he gives an explanation. A frog had a rupee, which he kept in his hole. One day, an elephant was going over the hole, and the frog, coming out in a fit of anger, raised his foot as if to kick the elephant. The frog is trying to kick the elephant and said, "How dare you walk over my head?" Such is the pride of money. When you are having the money, immediately everything is changed. One can get rid of ego after attaining knowledge. One can get rid of ego after attaining knowledge. On attaining knowledge, one goes into samadhi, and the ego disappears, but it is very difficult to obtain such knowledge. So he is telling knowledge, at the same time he is talking about samadhi. Samadhi is yoga, the Patanjali Yoga Darshan that we are reading now, and in every Sunday, there we have completed the chapter Samadhi. Now we have begun with the sadhan path, how to do that. But the samadhi we know, sabikalpa, nirvikalpa samadhi, nothing is there. Even the I consciousness also not present. And there when you reach and you know who really you are, and then all this illusion goes, that is called knowledge. And knowledge is oneness. Knowledge can never become two, it is all one. The moment I see that I have become all these things, then naturally I can never hate. Whom to hate? It is all myself. So that is called knowledge. So here Sri Ramakrishna is telling, and it is possible to reach over there. And it says in the Veda that man experiences samadhi when his mind ascends to the seventh plane. There are 7 planes, and again in the Yoga Sutra, it says that Muladhara, then come Swadhisthana, Manipur, Anahata, Vishuddha, Agga Chakra, then Sahasrara. And Sahasrara on the top of the head is called 7th plane. In the human body itself, it begins with the beginning of the spinal cord. At the end of the spinal cord, that's called Mula Adhara. Adhara means the container, and Mula means the real root. The root is that, the container is that Muladhara. From there it is travelling, and Sri Ramakrishna is explaining, where does the mind of an ordinary dwell? In the first 3 planes. That is Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipur. That means up to navel level. That's why constantly physical thoughts all the time roaming, centering the physical body. They can never overcome that. They cannot think of anything else except those things. Then the mind is immersed only in worldliness. A man attests to this. A man sees the light of God when the mind dwells in the plane of the heart, and that is called Anahata. The heart, that particular lotus, is named as Anahata. And when the mind is there, he sees the light of God. And then he says, what is this? What is this? And next the plane comes on the throat, and that throat is called Agga Chakra. When the Vishuddha Chakra, when the mind dwells there, he likes to hear the talk only of God. And then when the mind ascends to the next plane, in the forehead, between the eyebrow, that is called Agga Chakra, he sees the form of the Satchidananda. Then finally, when it goes to the 7th plane, when the mind reaches the 7th plane, then the ego vanishes completely and the man goes into samadhi. That is how he is explaining. The Vijaya, what does a man see when he attains the knowledge of Brahman? It's a very tricky question. And Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling what happens when the mind reaches the 7th plane cannot be described. Once a boat enters into the black waters of the ocean, it does not return. That means the ocean is so big, is very, very, they never go to the black water. The boat, all the small, the fishing boats, they are all near. Now the huge big ships, they go. But in those days, the time of Sri Ramakrishna is explaining. Then again he is giving an excellent example. Once a salt doll went to measure the depth of the ocean. No sooner did it enter the water than it melted. Now, who could tell how deep the ocean was? Because the doll was made of salt, and salt actually made of water of the ocean. Now, does this doll made of salt went to measure the water in the ocean, and it became the ocean itself. How it will come and say, the eye that makes one a worldly person is the wicked eye. Sri Ramakrishna, that is the very excellent, very unique of Sri Ramakrishna. That's called Kacha Ami, Paka Ami in Bengali. Kacha means unripened. Here, Swami Nikhilananda ji has translated wicked eye. Unripe, wicked eye. Why the wicked eye? Because of the ego. because it is away from God. Then now, what is this wicked I? It is the ego that says, what? Don't they know me? Bijoy, if without destroying the I, a man cannot get rid of attachment to the world and consequently cannot experience samadhi, then it would be wise for him to follow the path of Brahmagyana to attain samadhi. If the I persists in the path of devotion, then one should not rather choose the path of knowledge. Here the master says, it is true that one or two can get rid of the I through samadhi, but these cases are very rare. Through the path of samadhi, eradicate the I, it is very, very rare. And then he is telling that, O God, thou art the master, I am thy servant. This I will not harm you. Therefore, if I must remain, let that remain as the servant I. As long as you live, you should say, O God, thou art the master and I am thy servant. So, how to realize God? How to realize self? How to attain samadhi? Just by eradicating I, the lower I, the unripe I, that is wicked I, which always attached with ego. How we can mold that ego? By giving it to God. I am the servant of God. I am the child of God. And that pride will not bind. The path of knowledge is very difficult. One cannot obtain knowledge unless one gets rid of the feeling that one is the body. That body consciousness should go, and it is impossible. In the Kali Yuga, the life of man is centered on food. He cannot get rid of the feeling that he is the body and the ego. Therefore, the path of devotion is prescribed for the cycle. Sri Ramakrishna is very clear about this. Now, this is Kali Yuga. In this, we can see everywhere is nothing but the ego. Ego means attached with this body. And with this body, that means we need everything. And with that mind, one cannot practice Jnana Yoga. And that is why it is very easy to practice Bhakti Yoga. So that is why very, very rare some people will be there who can practice Jnana Yoga. But it is easy to practice Bhakti Yoga. This is an easy path. You will attain God if you sing His name and glories and pray to Him with a longing heart. Very simple. Pray to Him and sing His name, take His name constantly. There is not the least doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. Who is telling it? Bhagavan Swayam, the God Himself. Suppose you draw a line on the surface of water with a bamboo stick. The water appears to be divided into two parts, but the line doesn't remain for any length of time. Similarly, the servant I or the devotee I, the child I, is only a line drawn with the ego, and it is not real. Bijoy to the master said, you ask us to renounce the wicked I. Is there any harm with the servant I? That means I is there. Now the wicked I means I with attached with ego. When I am becoming the servant or the child or the devotee, that is also ego. And is it there that is harmful? Then the master Sri Ramakrishna is answering, the servant I, that is the feeling I am the servant of God. I am the devotee of God does not injure one. On the contrary, it helps one to realize God. See, that is the reason when a person attached with the ashrama or temple or the holy place should be very humble. Why? Other people are coming, they are not aware of it. So we need not to all the time compare with them. Those who are dedicated, they should always remember, I am the servant of God. And the servant has no authority to say no to anyone, but has the authority to look after all the things of the master. If anyone is bringing something, immediately that has to be offered to the master. Whether he will accept it or not, it is up to him. Any person is coming, but of course there is a timing. Within that stipulated time, if it's coming, okay, surely you can go. Whether you belong to my religion, whether you believe in my God, whether you speak in my language, whether you eat what I eat, no question should be there. So this is the first criteria of a devotee who is dedicated to God, because the I of the devotee is eradicating by dedicating the same thing at the feet of the Lord. How then you can say no to anyone? Whoever comes, one British officer came to the Belur Math in the very old days. They were not habituated to remove the shoe. And the officer was going to that shrine which was offered, Swami Vivekananda himself offered, that's what now we call old shrine of Belur Math, with the shoes on. Sharadananda ji stopped him, and without asking, you remove your shoe, not like that, he said, let me help you to remove your shoe. Look at it, Sharadananda ji. And he told, let me help you to remove your shoe. And he sat down and he helped him to remove the shoe. So that one incident tells us how the thing should go. Those who are attached with the ashrama, how humble they should be, how polite they should be, how alert they should be all the time. I cannot allow people coming with the shoe inside the temple, but at the same time, we should not be harsh. That is the training. With that training, what you are getting the benefit? You are actually removing the ego, which is the hindrance to realize your own self, to realize God. You are not becoming low, you are not becoming small. Rather, you are becoming holy and pure, because you will be blessed. So that is the training. But unfortunately, this is why I always say Panchama Veda. We read Veda. One person wrote, I am reading Veda. This is good. But what you will understand? So this Veda means this knowledge. The knowledge which will help you to understand how to realize God. Help you to prepare yourself to realize God. Of course, if you are interested, or otherwise, it doesn't go with you. It is not for you. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna is telling, that the servant I, that is the feeling, I am the servant of God, I am the devotee of God, does not injure one. On the contrary, it helps one to realize God. Today, after this, and in the next week again, we will study. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa Dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.